Hello and welcome to the Tyler Dale Podcast. Today I have a guest with me, Mr. Bo Dean.
Yo, what's going on?
Bo Dean is a St. Louis rapper. We're going to be getting into basically everything he does. He's also an educator. There's so much more that we're going to get into. But first, I'd like to say right off the top, personally, Bo Dean has been extremely inspiring for me. Literally, since I met him, he's one of the hardest working people I know. He was a teacher at Rittner. He still is a teacher at Rittner. Still there. I'm a teacher at Rittner as well. He was working at Apple at the same time, and then he was doing studio dates, performing dates.
A little bit of everything.
And then he was doing, what else was it? And then it was 4 a.m., kickboxing, running.
Yeah, working out in the morning and doing MMA after work when I had to work at Apple, making music, shooting videos. Just living the dream.
So maybe one of my first questions is, how do you have time for all of that?
Just planning, man. Planning and prioritizing. So days that I know that I didn't have to work my second job, then I would, put in my schedule MMA or work out in the morning with my homeboy, get, set due dates for projects or things that I needed to get done. Really just being disciplined and time management.
Discipline.
Most important thing. Got to be disciplined.
Yes, discipline and time management. That's something that I'm learning as well, especially in music.
Yeah.
It's extremely important. So before we kind of get into more discipline and all that stuff later as well, I kind of want to know more just about your start. Like, where are you from?
Shoot, man, I'm from St. Louis. I grew up in the county. I went to Hazelwood West for high school. Went to Harrisdale for college. Got my degree in education. High school teacher. I taught in SLPS for 5 years. This is my first year working at Rittner. Been doing music since I was 12. I had a group called Third Star back in high school, and we used to put out mixtapes for the school and everything. That's pretty much how I got my start. And once I started recording, I just fell in love with the process. I fell in love with putting words together, speaking my mind, through spoken word or poetry or rap. Because I wasn't like an introvert, but I was still kind of shy. But once I opened up, I was, cool and talkative. But that was the way for me to express myself. And then just hearing how people like Will Smith or Jay-Z or Lil Wayne put words together and make it sound cool, talking about how you felt, that just inspired me to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I've always had a passion for rap or just music in general.
Right. So are those some of your biggest inspirations? Yeah. It's Lil Wayne,
Will
Smith.
Jay, Will Smith. Will Smith was the first rap CD that I actually got, Big Willie style. First one that I purchased with my own money.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That one and Silk the Shocker, Mr. Made Man. Those were the first two. But my mom would only let me get edited CDs. So I was doing that for a while. Sound Revolution on a Lindbergh. I used to go up there, to purchase albums, or they will let you listen to the text before you buy them. So I would go up there and listen to music, every day with me and the homeboys. They knew us by name. So we'd go up there and listen to them. And yeah, man, and everybody, and not everybody, but a handful of people in school rap. So we used to rap against each other and hit each other up every day after school with new raps and stuff like that. Battle cats. So still sharp and still. So that's how I got better as a rapper.
Did you have any family? Did you have any family that inspired you at least from the jump? I mean, 'cause how old were you when you started writing poetry?
I wrote my first poem in want to say 4th grade.
Okay.
It was a dare poem about like not doing drugs.
Right.
So I did that, and I didn't have no relatives that I knew that like rapped. They just listened to rap. Like my big cousin, he listened to everything. He's really the one that got me introduced to it. I was over his house every like weekend, so he had like all the new tapes, Snoop Dogg, DMX stuff. My mama wouldn't want me to listen to.
Right.
She gave me the MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, Crisscross, little friendly rap. But
Right.
he introduced me to like Snoop Dogg, NWA.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? DMX.
And that was your cousin?
Mm-hmm.
And what year was that? Was that like...
That was like the early 90s.
Okay.
So like early 90s till like 98, 99, he would just give me hip on like all the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, the dope rappers at that time.
So has rap always been your favorite genre of music?
Believe it or not, I used to listen to, well, I still do, but Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I used to listen to.
The King.
That's my favorite artist
King
of all
of pop.
time. King, man. So like, that's who really got me into music, like Mike. But I couldn't sing. But I just love Mike. Everything that he did. And now that I'm older and I go back and like watch his documentaries or behind the scenes or his old movies and stuff, like the dude was a genius, man. He was really ahead of his time with like everything that he did. He was a for real trendsetter. For real.
And he had discipline.
And
he worked hard.
Yeah.
Right? Some of those things we already talked about. Just like...
Yeah, Joe put that discipline in him at a young age.
You know, whenever you're, like, you know, the people who are really successful, it seems like, these days especially, I mean, maybe this is just across the board in any, whether it's music, whether it's education, really any career path at all, it's like the people who work the hardest. Mm-hmm. They're at the top. I mean, like, you know, Michael Jackson, I mean, was like the best dancer, the best singer. I mean, like, he could literally do everything, and it was because he would constantly put work into his craft. And I'm sure a lot of people would say, yeah, it was also, you know, some people are many are called and few are chosen. Mm-hmm. Mike might have been one of those chosen. Yeah. You know, especially when you hear him singing like ABC when he's like how old? You know, just like
we
super
like straight
young.
Grew up with my we didn't grow up with him, but like, you know, your parents and mine, they grew up with him as a kid to like now, you know, till he died.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the same way I feel about Wayne. Like I watched Lil Wayne come up as a kid to where he is now.
Really?
Like all those decades that Wayne's been in the game, I was there for all that. Till his first album, to him breaking records with the Carter 3, to him changing the game with the mixtapes or the fashion sense, to him bringing in Drake and Nicki Minaj, to his ups and downs, all that. Like I've been there for all that.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite rappers, I would say, at least in high school. Like in you know, because for me, like I've always listened to a ton of different like music. My dad grew up on a farm in Kansas, so he was like super country. Mm-hmm. And so, but like at the same time, I have his record collection over here. Like he had Thriller and like, you know, a ton of different Michael Jackson records. Yep. And so like growing up, I had, you know, like country and all that, but then also like my brothers were in high school at Pattonville. Mm-hmm. I'm the youngest of 4, and my oldest brother's 13 years older than me.
Oh wow!
And my other brother's 11, and then my sister is 6 years. And so, whenever I was born, they were in high school. At least Matt and Luke were. So they were listening to rap, and like, so I was exposed to all the different rap, like Snoop Dogg, NWA, the same thing. Like Luke and Matt could say, like they just love all of those albums. And so I was introduced to that, and then when I got to high school, it was like jazz, you know, more of the blues thing, like all that. So what about like blues? Like, do you have any blues, R&B, other than Michael Jackson, other than the King of Pop? What other kind of musicians do you?
You know, I like listen to it, but I don't have a favorite. When I was growing up, something else that I listened to was like WWE, the music, like those soundtracks. I was a big wrestling fan, so the entrance music was always cool. I listened to like a lot of soundtracks.
Okay.
Like back in the '90s, early 2000s, like soundtracks to movies was very popular. And like now, I'll listen to. I like what's my dude name? Skrillex. And,
Skrillex.
Like anime, like soundtracks, music to video games.
Okay.
I like listen to that stuff when I'm working out and things like that. So just random shit, man. I mean,
Yeah.
random stuff, man.
Yeah, that's all good. And we're back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Once again, hey, like I said at the very beginning of the podcast, this is brand new to me, and it's going to be a learning experience. So what we were figuring out was our mics were just not working right.
Had some technical difficulties.
But we're back.
Yeah, we back, man.
And we're stronger than ever. So what we're going to do is let's go and start off. We were talking about some of your influences. And then with Michael Jackson, different. We were just talking about how you started writing poetry in 4th grade, and then how you moved in high school. You who did you start working with? Like who were you taping with in high school?
So I had a homeboy named Paul Gamble, and we went over his house to record our music. His dad was like a radio host or something. He did something with radio, and he had like the whole old school setup with the reels and everything. Like how when artists used to record, they recorded on like the little film thing.
Yeah.
So that's how we used to record our music. We recorded on that, but it was pretty decent quality though. So we used to go over his house, make music. It would take a while to get done because like after we recorded, you know, he would have to come convert it from the reel to, you know, like a format to put on CD. So we did that. We started selling our music around school. That's how we got like a little name, and that also kept money in our pockets. That we made like a lot of money just selling music. So that was my first like little hustle.
Now, was that the most money you've ever made with music? Because those of you who don't know, right now it can be a little difficult to make music,
you know what?
To make money in music.
It is you got to get like lots and lots of streams in order to like be comfortable with the money that you make. I mean, to be comfortable with the income you get from music. So I did make a lot, but I made more like after that though.
Right.
But before like a 15, 16, 17-year-old, like it was pretty good money. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have bills or anything, so like that little money that I had, I would either go back to the studio or just, you know, have it on me, you know, just to have. But I always, you know what I'm saying, just used to love going to the studio and just getting better. Even now, like when I make music, I always, you know, just want to perfect my sound. Other people might not hear it, but I hear things like I could have done that better or things of that nature. So always a student to the craft, man.
Absolutely, that's
always,
beautiful.
Man.
You're your biggest critic.
My worst critic.
Right.
My worst critic. And I got like you know, my cousin. He's a big critic of what I do. But you need people like that, you know, where everybody else is like, oh man, that's dope, you know what I'm saying? And you got somebody like, you could have done better, and things like that. So he's that guy.
Yeah,
like,
you need somebody to push you.
Yeah.
And say, hey, you know, or like that's good, man, but I think you could do
like,
better.
You know, I've heard better, you know, from, you know, I've heard better from Bo. You know what I'm saying? You need to really attack it more or things like that. So we need people like that in our corner to, you know, really let us know, you know what I'm saying, the real, because they don't say it from a bad place. They just, you know, those are really like your biggest supporters, or people who like really dissect your music and like what you do, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people just they're not good at taking criticism. But when I give somebody criticism, it's because I'm like really genuinely interested in what you do, and I really listen, you know what I'm saying, to like what you're saying, how you execute it and everything. and I get my, you know what I'm saying, opinion on like how it could be, you know, better. It's not to be an asshole or anything like that. I just want you to put out the best, you know what I'm saying, product as
Absolutely.
possible.
It's all from love. It's all love,
Yep.
right? Coming from a place of, hey, I just want to see you better.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that probably also comes with you being an educator as well.
Yep.
Right? Like, you want the best out of your students.
Yep.
And it's coming from a place of love only. Of like,
Oh, yeah.
how can I push this student? How can I push this person to their best, you know, of their abilities?
Because sometimes, like, even with the kids, like, you know, when a student just put something together just to, you know, just to get it done, and they expect you to give them praise, you know, when they do it, when you know you could do better, you know. And sometimes with an artist, we do the same thing. We just put something together just to put it out, you know what I'm saying? But like, you need those people that be like, you can do better, do it over.
Absolutely. So that's great that you had some of those people like your cousin in your life, and still have those people in your life.
Yeah, most definitely.
Who were the some of your friends in that first group, and what was that group called again?
It was called Third Star. So my homeboy Adam, he came up with the name. Like, at that time, like, Tupac and Biggie were the two biggest stars in rap. So we were the Third Star. Like, that's how he like came up with like all our names that we had. He's just good at like coming up with like names. So we were Third Star, and then we went by Hustlers by Nature, and I've been in a couple groups, man. So Third Star, Hustlers by Nature, and then we had a group called Step or Get Left. But every group that I've been in, like, you know, everybody in there was dope, and we, you know, it was real competitive because everybody was good at what they did. So like that really helped me become a better lyricist.
And so that was through high school.
Step or Get Left was in my like 20s, but those were pretty much like the same people from high school with like two other people, you know what I'm saying? So we all knew each other though. And I did collaborative work with this group called the Domino Effect. I dropped the album with them called Try Atomic. Me and T-Dub-O. We've done like collaborative albums and work, and we're actually in a collective right now called Audacity Music Group. So that's like another group that I'm in. So like every group that I've been in, or rappers that I like affiliate myself with, they're, you know, pretty good at what they do. And I have to, you know, bring my A game or I'm going to get, you know, outdone.
Yeah, actually, I was just talking to one of my professors yesterday about this, and we talked about how sometimes it's important to be the worst in the room.
Oh, yeah.
By no means am I saying this for you, but I'm saying the whole line, the whole meaning behind that is surround yourself with people who are great.
Yep.
And, you know, like with other rappers who are great and who want you to be better.
Yep.
And other musicians. I know that for myself. It's the same thing in my you know, in my band. It's like I want to surround myself with like people who are like the best on the drums and the best, you know, because like I think whenever you do that, it
makes you better.
Yeah, it raises the bar just across the board.
Oh yeah, man. I do, you know, MMA too, and like the people in there, or at least starting out, that was, you know, there. Man, they be whooping my ass, man. Like with everything, hand-to-hand skills, boxing, the ground game. Like my first time sparring, I almost got my arm broke. You know what I'm saying? The dude put me in an arm bar, and I didn't know like what to do to, like, you know, I didn't want to tap, but I didn't know that you got to tap. I was trying to be tough, but he pulled all the way back. I heard a I'm like, oh. Right. And he let go. So yeah, man, like even with like that, it's something new, something challenging. And a lot of people, when they, you know, start sparring in MMA, they quit because it's too rough for them. But the fact that I wasn't the best at it, and I was getting my ass whooped, I was like, okay, I got to get better.
What? How long have you been doing?
So I've been
MMA?
Doing like martial arts, man, for about like 4 or 5 years, but I'm really now starting to have the time to take it serious and train every day for the most part for about 6 months. So all that time that I was doing it prior, I didn't really have the time to train because I was working two jobs. So that's another thing.
2 jobs and
yep,
writing music
yep.
and doing. I mean, there's so many different jobs. Yeah,
it was a lot, man. So, and that's why I like really be trying to tell people to do things that you love, and if you work two jobs or things like that, like, you know, do it temporarily, do it for a means, you know what I'm saying, to get to where you need to go, and then, you know what I'm saying, leave it. But don't just, you know, waste too much time doing it, because it's no telling where I could have been with martial arts if I would have you know, not been working two jobs.
Now, what made you get into martial arts in the first place?
I always loved martial arts. Like, as a kid, I did it. I just wasn't disciplined. You know what I'm saying? My mom and dad, they signed me up to a taekwondo academy up the street from the crib. I got up to like a yellow green belt, and then I just stopped going. Wanted to be cool, hang out, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. So I wish I was more disciplined, so I, you know what I'm saying, would have had that in my arsenal as a, you know what I'm saying, a young man to like now. So
because so whenever you were younger, that was really the only type of like physical activity or sport. Like, you weren't like doing basketball or football or baseball or track or
nope.
like.
And that's like my little brother had them genes, but like I was athletic. I just like sports wasn't really my thing. Now that I'm older, you know, now I'm into, you know, running and, you know, martial arts and physical activities and things like that. I did soccer when I was a kid. I like soccer. I did t-ball, little stuff like that. My dad was a like All-American.
Okay.
So like it's like in me. That just wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
Like my little brother was that, like, the athlete. You know what I mean?
And like you said, since you were starting poetry, and like you said, even you were like a little more introverted in like high school and stuff. So that kind of kept you more into the music, and you were like, that was your main focus.
That was my thing, like music. Like that was my sport. Like back in the day, I had like the big black trash bags full of raps. Like when I was throwing away like old raps, like it's 2 trash bags worth. Like that's so many notebooks and papers that I used to write on. I liked going to school. I would go to school to learn new things, to put them into my raps.
Yeah.
From high school to college, like that, I was excited to go to school just so I could learn to put it into music.
Which is just the complete opposite of me, because I was like, like school, man. I just want to go out and like, you know, play the guitar and like my band or whatever, you know, like, you know. So
I used to love it, man. Like I would be in school. Like I had a notebook for that class, and I had a little mini notebook that I would write stuff down that was interesting. Okay, I'll turn it into like a rap.
And really, this makes all the sense in the world, because you are an English teacher.
Yep.
So, and a rapper and a writer. So constantly just writing and working on your craft.
Yep.
So, kind of on the topic of writing, music, and so kind of like show me how this is in the world of rap, because I know that there's like freestyle, like off the dome, and then there's written out, and it's like, where do you do both, or
we do both?
Is there like a thing that you like doing more? Like, is this like, no, like you only do off the dome, like off the top, or you know?
I do both. Off the dome is more like just when you're, it's like if you're somebody got a beat playing, you're around a whole bunch of people, and y'all want to start rapping, get a cipher started, rap off the dome, or you can spit writtens in a cipher too. It all depends on like your comfortability and how good you are with just freestyling off the top. Or you can spit written raps that you memorize in a cipher.
Do you have one that you prefer over the other?
Probably writtens. But like when I'm in the zone, I could do the freestyle. You know what I'm saying?
So how does one practice that? I mean, is it literally just like finding a beat on YouTube and then just freestyling, like working on?
You can do that. You can just do it while you don't need a beat. You can just do it just randomly. You can do it in your head when you're driving, or when you with your friends, or anywhere.
Now, so we talked about like inspiration musically.
Mm-hmm.
What about with what you're writing? Like, because I'm sure, I mean, the more you read,
Mm-hmm.
the more the more ideas you get,
Mm-hmm.
and the more you understand different sentence structure and and like the structure of song structure,
Mm-hmm.
and rhyme structure, all of that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like, who are some of your favorite writers that you are interested in?
I would say Oscar Wilde, the portrait of Dorian Gray. That's one of my favorite stories. I just reread that a couple weeks ago, and I learning new words and phrases from like there. I like wrote those down, put them in my journal to like use. Napoleon Hill, his book Outwitting the Devil. He had another one, Think and Become Rich. That's a pretty good one. Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, The 50th Law by 50 Cent. It's a couple.
Some
man,
of these sound like self-help books. Are
yeah,
you into that?
yeah. I'm like real into self help and just becoming a better man. So I'm like really into those. I don't really read too many like storytelling joints. I'm like really into like self help and becoming like a better me.
Same, absolutely. So like David Goggins, have you read or his last book? I think it was like Unbreakable, maybe.
I'm gonna check that out, man.
And I think that's what it's called. But I know David Goggins is another incredible, or like Tony Robbins, or
I've heard of Tony Robbins.
Anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or Cam Haines. That's somebody that I really like. He's like a runner and
Okay.
super inspiring and motivating.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you write down words
Yeah.
so that you're unfamiliar with. So like I think that's so interesting because I also do that when I'm reading now. I didn't do it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the thing that's so funny to me is like if I could redo it, I would be paying way more attention in school.
Oh yeah.
I was the worst English student. I mean, I got good grades, but like I just didn't like care. I guess like I wouldn't read the books.
Mm-hmm.
I would do like the Spark Notes.
Probably just came natural. Like my little brother, like me, I had to study and everything. My little brother didn't study. He didn't do nothing, but he would just remember what they said in class and ace things. You know what I'm saying? Like he would skip class and do all that, but he just had a real sharp, mind.
So your process though now is, and maybe it always has been, is writing out a word as you go, looking it up, and
it takes me forever to read a book. Like if you gave me a book to like read, I probably won't get it done to like a month, because if it's a word I'm unfamiliar with, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna highlight it, look it up, find what that word mean, write it in my notes, like my little vocabulary notes. If it's a quote, that I like, I'm gonna stop, write it down. It takes me forever to read a book. So when people be asking me like, what all books you like read, like it's not that many. You know what I'm saying? I don't read that many books a year because it takes me a while to dissect just the one that I'm reading, because I'm picking apart words I don't know. If it's a sentence or something that they say that stick out, I'm highlighting that, putting that down. It takes a while, man.
I think that is so inspiring, honestly, because it's like, especially with today living in like this instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think for me, I mean, obviously I know that technology is great and like the phones are amazing, but it's also extremely hard because everything's at our fingertips.
Everything.
So I can literally, in the moment, if I don't know a word, I'll look up the word. Oh, that's what it means. And then I just forget about it. Like I don't do the time. Like kind of like what you're talking about. I don't take the time, or I haven't always taken the time to sit there and go, what is this? Like really digesting it and like internally thinking about the different words. And, you know, is that something that you teach to all your students?
I've taught it to a few. I'll tell them, like, you know, this how I do things. They don't pay attention. You know what I'm saying? I think next year I'm going to really focus on that more. If it's like a word you don't know, to write it down and things of that nature. I'm going to really start incorporating that more.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's any ways that you've found to ingrain some of this stuff, you know, into your students and the next generation of like, hey, instead of, I understand that you could look on your phone and you can get a quick answer, but let's dive a little deeper and, you know, actually try and get those words into our vocabulary bank. And
yeah, it's because like some of those words, you know, so they're pretty intriguing. And you know, kids, if for most kids, if you don't tell them to do it, like they won't do it. So I think I'm gonna incorporate that next year, and maybe just tell them like, hey, if you see a word that you don't understand or looks interesting, write it down. You know what I'm saying, and then we'll come back and write, you know what I'm saying, the definition or something like that. But yeah, man, like reading and learning new words and all the words that I write down and stuff like that. I don't like know them all. I haven't memorized them. They're just in my little notebooks. So if I'm like writing a rap or something like that, I will go to that vocabulary, you know what I'm saying, page and look at new words and like stuff to incorporate.
When you're writing out your raps, is your main focus syllables? Like how do you structure? Like, is it the first story, right? Because that's the most important, and then do you start breaking it down with rhyme structure or syllables on how many you want to use in a line?
Back when I was first starting, I was real like rapidy rap. I like just wanted to be the most lyrical and things of that nature. But now it's really about how I say it, how it's delivered, and the message. So I always make sure like my first two bars is gonna catch your attention, and my last, like the middle bar, still has your attention, and then the last bar, you know, I ended out, you know what I'm saying, real like smooth. But I always try to make sure I have like a message, or, you know, stay on topic with what I'm talking about throughout my raps. But as I get older and just study more artists, like it's about how you deliver it. Still have a message, but the way you say it, you know what I'm saying, and the passion and stuff that you put in it makes people feel it more. You know, you can be the most lyrical rapper in the world, but if you're not speaking things people can relate to, or if you don't say it with passion,
if you don't feel
it's gonna go over. You know, they're gonna be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, no. If you don't feel it, it makes me think of like the blues, because I mean, it makes me so. Three of my favorite guitar players, the Three Kings, I call them, Albert King, Freddie King, BB King. They felt it, like, and you feel it.
Yep.
When you play that record, you feel it. It you know, it's real, and it's like raw and emotion, and you can hear the passion in their playing. And so that's kind of the same thing what you're saying.
Yep.
With writing and how you punctuate it. Yep. Or, you know, the inflection in your voice, and it's so interesting how all of that is so important.
Yep.
I'm really interested to also kind of go into more of like your methods or like your writing styles. I mean, like, I think it's always interesting, no matter what genre you are, to talk about your, like, you know, like, okay, so do you sit there for an hour every day, or do you sit there for 30 minutes a day and write, or like, do you have a structured time where you're sitting down to work on Bodine's next project?
If I'm feeling like it's some records that I've wrote in 30 minutes, hook, verses. It's some that it takes me a week or weeks, or I may not feel it until like a year. I may be sitting on a beat for like a year.
Is it like a thing where you show up every day? Like you know, do you have a times that you sit on it?
So with like projects, well, like now how I do things, I'll let a producer know what I'm looking for, and then you know he would create or send a beat that fits what I'm looking for. So it's easier like that way. But back in the day, like I would just get beats, and then I'll listen to them, and once I'm, you know, trying to figure out a beat that fits the type that I'm, you know what I'm saying, working on, then, you know, I would start writing. Usually now, man, it doesn't take me, like when I'm really focusing in the zone, it takes me no more than a day, like an hour or two to write a record. And if I'm on a record with somebody else, I usually get that done like in that session.
Who are some of the producers that you work with in St. Louis, and do you work with producers outside of St. Louis as well?
Mostly, pretty much just St. Louis. I do Blue September, Kassan, Crisis, Bo Willie, Il Mac. Those are my main producers that I go to, and I'm learning how to produce now too. So that's a new thing that I'm learning. So,
what kind of format like do you have and that you're working on?
I'm using Logic, and my beats for the most part right now kind of real like boom bapish, hip hoppy, real smooth type of records. So I'm just learning how to like add the 808s and learning how to chop samples and structure it the right way. So it's like I was saying earlier, it's, you know, something new. So I'm, you know, real, you know what I'm saying, intrigued by it, and you're just practicing every day to get better.
Well, if you have any questions at all, this is actually funny because you need to call Logan Miller. You actually know Logan Miller. It's one of my boys. He's my producer who's worked on all my songs this year. Mm-hmm. Him and Travis Page Steele.
Yeah.
They worked at Apple.
Apple, yeah.
Yeah. So Logan worked there too.
Okay.
So Logan is a Logic master. I use Pro Tools, so I couldn't help you with that, but.
Yeah, man, Logan and Trav, man, good dudes.
Great dudes.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. Man, St. Louis is so small, bro.
It's wild, isn't it?
Too small. Everybody knows everybody in like some way. It's wild, man. Everyone's connected.
Yeah, 100%. So you're using Logic, mm-hmm. and then you have do you have a keyboard as well?
I have a mini keyboard, and I have machine micro. It's like a little MPC.
Okay. So
I use those to like chop samples, make drum patterns and things of that nature.
Okay.
And YouTube.
Yeah. I mean that's one great thing. You know, I was bashing technology earlier, but mm-hmm. that's the other thing is we can literally learn anything at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can type in how do you set up a speaker system or whatever, and there's going to be a video on the internet somewhere. So especially with music, it's like, how do I do this in Pro Tools?
They got everything.
I'm always doing that. Or what's the best mic for this?
Shoot, I learned how to tie my tie on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
You can literally do anything. So there's no excuses.
None whatsoever.
Yeah. So okay. So, what else? What else do we want to talk about? I know one thing. It kind of made me think about. I was listening to some of your music today. Mm-hmm. Thought about. I was listening to Lucifer's Piano. Mm-hmm. This line stuck out. For a black man, ain't no love in the white land. On top of my Bible's my right hand. So,
I was pretty much talking about how like just being black in America, like it's a no love for a black man. Like you see what's going on with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and countless others that's been, murdered by police brutality or it's all type of, violence. You got blue on black crime, you got black on black crime, just all type of, plights that the black man has to, face and endure on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was immediately like, I want to bring this up, and I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
talk about what's going on in the world, and like, I want to honestly hear more about some maybe personal experiences from yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
most definitely.
you know, what experiences have you had with cops? Like, have you had a ton of negative experiences?
I haven't had a ton, but the ones that I had, they stood out. Like my first like negative encounter with cops that, was real traumatizing was I was 13. I was sitting outside in the parking lot of my neighborhood with my two homeboys in his car listening to beats. And 4 cop cars pulled up on us, jumped out the cars with guns, like, put your hands on the seats. What are you doing? Why? How come you guys been in this car for 30 minutes or an hour? Like, so someone that called them and told them that we was outside just posted. And we haven't even hit puberty yet, you know what I mean?
We're 13-year-olds.
3 13-year-olds. Well, the other dude that was driving, he was probably about 16, 17. Right. Rest his soul, Charles. But yeah, we just listening to music, man, just vibing. And they came and, pulled out guns. They pulled the dude that was driving out the car, arrested him, put him in cuffs. Cause, he was like, we not doing nothing. I know my rights. Wham, had him up against the car, things of that nature. And once they, ran his license and everything, he was cool. But, and I was talking to my homeboy about it yesterday. Like, we didn't even really trip off it like then. But, now as we got older, we're like, damn, it's fucked up.
That is, I can't even imagine. I literally have never had that experience. Damn. Like, ever.
It's been a time. It was like I was 18, living in Hazelwood. I got pulled over by 3 cops in a matter of 30 minutes. So one cop said I did a rolling stop, and then another cop. So once he let me go, I was getting back on the highway. I drove past the Phillips 66 that used to be on Lindbergh. As I was driving, like, I was just looking at the gas station, and a cop, was in his car. He just got done getting some gas. So we made eye contact. He seen me, I seen him. This dude pulled me over, like, on the ramp of Lindbergh and said that my back tail light was out. But the whole time, when you put your foot on the brake, the tail lights are, shining.
Yeah.
The whole time my tail light was like shining on this, car. So I had my mom on the phone, and once he seen that my mom was on the phone, he, let me go. And then when I was coming back home, because my mom was like, "Oh, you gotta come back home, because it's like that's two cops tripping for no reason." So when I'm coming back home, another cop pulls me over. And he said that I was speeding when I wasn't. But I had my mom on the phone, so like once they seen that, they left me alone. That's one thing that my mom and dad always told me. They was like, man, when a cop pull you over, like, you call us. And one time when we was leaving like a friend's house over there in Blackjack, a cop had pulled us over for no reason. He just seen a whole bunch of kids in the car, and I called my dad, had him on speakerphone. And my friends was like, why you calling your dad? And I was like, well, because, when they see that, my parents is on the phone, they'll be less likely to, trip. So they didn't understand that. But, I still do it to this day. If a cop pulls me over for no reason, I call my mom or somebody. But yeah, I've dealt with racist cops for a while.
Yeah, so you said, your first experience was whenever you were 13 years old.
Yep.
Guns drawn, listening to music in
the car. Yep.
Now, have you ever, since that moment in time, have you had any other experiences where you've had guns drawn?
When I was protesting, but that was for the protesting thing. They shot the rubber bullets and things that is of that nature. My homeboy, our studio just got raided.
I was gonna bring this
not
up.
too long ago, last week or a week prior.
Yeah, I think it was a week ago. Still, so tell the story, please.
So, like they was doing downtown protests and people were rioting. So my guys, our studio was like right in front of the police station. And so they were just protecting. They were outside, just standing outside, making sure nobody tried to loot that building that we were in. And cops came out of nowhere. Everybody get down. Where's the rifle? Where's the rifle? So when they asked where's the rifle, they already been monitoring like my friend's Instagram page because he posted a picture of him with a rifle registered. You know what I'm saying? That day, that previous day, he was out at a protest with a rifle. But people do that all the time. Like people walk around with guns and everything.
100%. I mean, just like was it last month? There were like armed people at the White House. Wasn't that like, or was that last year? I mean, I feel like that was recent.
Yeah,
it's
the
White House
was
sort of government building with AR-15s, like Second Amendment. Like these are my rights. This is so they see a picture on Instagram.
And then they come to the building and ask, "Where's the rifle? What you do with the rifle?" Had everybody face down on the ground, and that was like the first thing that they asked once everybody got them on the ground.
Which is just it's so strange because I'm thinking like, are they like policing on Instagram? You know what I mean? Like, So is
they
that
definitely
what that
checking out
means?
our
Oh, okay. So
they definitely check out our
anytime
pages.
you see somebody with a gun, then you're gonna
just him. So the dude I'm talking about, T-Double, he was also very heavily active in Ferguson and he's very outspoken. He was on like CNN and other news channels talking about the injustices that was going on. He talked to Barack Obama at the White House. He was on a lot of shows like talking about the corruptiveness in the Ferguson Police Department and just cops in general.
So these cops had something against him clearly if they're coming with guns drawn.
And they told him like you might have got off with you got lucky with Ferguson, but don't try nothing this go round. Like that's what they told him there. And I was actually supposed to be down there at the studio, but I overslept. So I took a nap, went to sleep, woke up at like 1:30 in the morning, and I see like texts or videos of what had happened. Like he had sent it to the group.
So they made everybody get down on the ground.
Everybody.
Did they and then they raided the studio, right? Did they what happened from there? Were there any like any charges or did they
nothing?
Like they
didn't even have a warrant.
They literally just walked in without a warrant.
They just they just ran in and with guns drawn. No warrant, nothing.
That is insane.
Yeah.
And just like not okay in any sense of like I've been pulled over for speeding. I've been pulled over like I think one of my friends in college like maybe flicked off a cop or something and we got pulled over. It wasn't me.
I didn't do it.
But we got kicked out, like they had to search the car and like
really for that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's an example. Literally, like it was my buddy, just being funny. He was just like in the front seat or whatever, and he like flicked off as we're driving by, and I didn't even think anything of it. I was just like in the back seat.
Yeah.
2 minutes later, whoop whoop, and we were going to my buddy's house. I think we were 20 at the time. My friend driving was 21, but he hadn't had anything to drink. They wrote us all tickets. They searched the car. They all breathalyzed us, and like at the time I didn't realize like to say no. Like I wasn't I just didn't know. I wasn't doing anything. But yeah, they gave us all tickets. And
that's crazy, man. I just at one of these rallies, they passed out like a flyer of what to do if a cop pulls you over. Like, you don't have to let them search the car. You don't have to say anything. You be like, let me speak to my lawyer, and all type of things that I didn't know that you could do when you get pulled over. So like a lot of people in general, not just black, but white, Asian, like we need to really know our rights. When we get pulled over and dealing with cops, because a lot of people, got framed or just got unnecessary issues with them just because they didn't know what to do. We get scared when they pull us over and we don't even be doing anything. I'd be scared or nervous when a cop is behind me and like my record's clean.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel nervous, and I've never ever had a gun drawn at me at any time that I've been pulled over, and I get nervous around like cops, so
and that's
I
bad.
Can't even imagine how you feel, like having these experiences with guns drawn.
Yep.
It's like, and then having experiences like this, or with like, I mean, do you hear this often with like other friends? Like, oh, this like, more situations with like guns drawn. Like, is that like a?
Not
have you
for
heard a
real.
lot of those kinds of stories, or even from students
we
teach?
We don't really be. I never really brought like that issue up to like kids, but like with like friends. Nah, we don't. We don't really talk about. What I'm saying that now. T-Dub. We talk about it. They've harassed him numerous of times, especially like during the Ferguson days. Pulled him over, put guns to his head, or what I'm saying, draw guns on him and his girl, or other people that he was riding with, things of that nature. Like the cops be on one, and then they wonder why, the black community, like people in the black community, are so have a dislikeness towards them. Yeah, there's good cops, but there's a lot of like the bad cops like just spoil it for what I'm saying, like the good ones.
Because that's another thing that I was going to ask is, we talked about some bad experiences. Have you had any good experiences with cops?
Man, it's cops. Now it's times where I was speeding or made an illegal turn, or I had a tail light out, or my plates was expired, and a cop did let me go. Like, all right, man, white, all right, man, go ahead and get that fixed. Black ones too. Like, it was a time where I was coming home late at night and I was tired, kind of swerving. They pulled me over. As was everything was was all right. What I'm saying, and I just let them know I just got out of work. My apologies for swerving. Let me go. Didn't give me no ticket or like nothing. So yeah, like it is. What I'm saying, cops that that's cool.
Yeah, because I just think I'm always trying to look just around the whole situation, like looking at good cops, bad cops, like good experiences, bad experiences, because the thing is, and sadly, is it's like, sure, there are a lot of good cops. Yes, there are a lot of bad cops. It's like the bad apples. There are just bad people, really, in every single profession.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that's another thing I was going to even ask. We're talking about cops right now and about like negative experiences. Obviously, it's even more intensified because police do have guns, and they have pepper spray, and they have tasers, and they have batons and things like to physically like hurt you, or can hurt you. So obviously it's a little more ramped up. But I was going to even ask, what are some other experiences that you've had in America, in the white land, like you say in the song, just with in the education system, in music, just anywhere. Like I'm just interested to hear more stories of like.
So like one was I talked about this yesterday on like a Facebook post. I'll never forget this. I was about 15, 16, going on my first interview for like a job at Snooks on Lindbergh. And when I tried to shake the interviewer's hand, he just looked at me and started talking. White dude. Had to be maybe mid-20s, early 30s. Young dude, you know what I'm saying? I was like, to myself, like, oh, really? Like, dang, that's messed up. Of course, I didn't get the job. But, you know, he, like, just, he seen me with my hand out, but he just, like, ignored it.
Wouldn't shake your hand.
Yep. And there was another time where I went to a teacher interview. It was like it was like a predominantly white district. Did my interview, and not even before I got home, like when I left, they sent me an email and said, "Yeah, we're going to, you didn't make the next, round." And like it was just super quick. Like I didn't know, like maybe they do that, but like it was just real too fast. Like, yeah, you didn't make the next round. Thank you. I was like, oh, okay, but right. I'm glad that I didn't, what I'm saying, get hired at that school, because I knew it'd be like I just had to be going through like a lot, because it was predominantly white. I probably would have been like one of the few black teachers. And like I'm glad that I got hired at Rittner. It's more more diverse.
Well, yeah, I think at Rittner, I don't know if there is a majority.
Nope, it's like
right?
30, something like that. Like we're the most diverse school in Missouri, from like what they said. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, incredible. I mean, I just feel like anytime I hear these kind of stories, I just think, how do we change that? Like, what can we do to change the bad apples?
They got to start being held accountable for what they do. Like, you got like a lot of officers like Darren Wilson or even Zimmerman, like all these people like getting off with murders. Like, even if Mike Brown did put up a fight with George Zimmerman, as a cop what to do to defend yourself. You didn't have to shoot that boy all those times to get your point across. As right. a cop, you know where to shoot somebody to disable them, or to get them to a point where they can't attack you. But shooting them in the head and the stomach and things of that nature, that's like overkill, man.
Right. So maybe part of the answer is
better training.
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna say maybe even like, yeah, training in like de-escalation.
Yep.
And honestly, like, I want to reach out to several of my police friends, or like one of the police officers, maybe even at Rittner, and just kind of like talk to him about like what, because I don't know like the training that goes into
me neither.
All of that.
I seen something on Facebook or Instagram the other day, and the United States has the quickest graduation rate for police, to get, their police certificates, where police in other countries, like, they got to go through like a lot of training and things of that nature. And those countries had the least deaths, from, police to citizens interactions and things of that nature. So my question is that the first thing? I mean, like, where do we go from here? Like right now, what would you suggest, or what have you been thinking about? What's been on your heart to move forward, in this climate, or even like, what would you even say to our students, like, and how they can move forward? Because like, thinking about going back, if we go back, obviously that we have the whole COVID situation as well, which is another thing that's going on. Like, I don't know what to tell my students, especially if they're afraid, for their lives, if they're afraid for their family's life, for their brothers, and, literally, like, if they go out on a jog, I mean, that's literally one of the... Oh, another story, man. Like, so when I was staying off of Dorset, and I would jog around like Dorset, like Maryland Heights. I was jogging, and 3 detective cars pulled up on me and pulled out guns and was like, and then like the lady detective, she walked up to me. She was like, it's been reported that there was a burglary in this area, and you fit the description. So of course I called my mom and my dad. They came up to the, that area that I was being held at, and they started asking them questions like, well, what did he have on? What did he look like? And I didn't fit the description at all. Like once my mom, because I'm still in I was still in my 20s, but I didn't know what to like say. I was like, I don't know. But my mom and dad just asked them questions like, well, where was it at? What did they have on? What was his hair? And I didn't fit the description at all. So I would have went to jail, or, could have got shot. Like what if I had my headphones in and I was just zoned out, you know what I'm saying? And I could have got shot for no reason, So,
well, I mean, first of all, it sounds like you have incredible parents that that have been there for you.
Oh yeah,
which is amazing to have. I myself have the same thing. I mean, I know that my mom and dad, I can call them, and but the fact that they're like, "Hey, coming up there," I mean, that's even better. Like, no, hold on, this is not right. Like, I know my son, and he's just out on a jog. Like,
it's important to have supportive parents or loving, caring parents, because they come through in the clutch, and that's another reason why I became like a teacher, like to be like a mentor, like a big brother figure to these kids, because a lot of these kids, they don't have loving parents or like a father, or they may have lost them. Man, these kids go through a lot. So that's why, like, I like kind of let them, I let them be themselves, and it like takes a lot of patience, dealing with, these kids. But these kids need, like, they like need us, you know what I'm saying? Like, they need more male figures, you know what I'm saying, in their lives. And, like I tell my kids or tell people in general, like the reason why I became a teacher was because of a white teacher that I had. His name was Mr. Cool. Looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin. But like that's the reason why I'm a teacher to today, because he had that strong of an impact on me for my 7th and 8th grade social studies classes, and that motivated me to like want to help change lives and be a positive impact with like kids.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
I love that, man. It makes me think of this quote from somebody I follow, Duncan Trussell.
Mm-hmm.
Duncan Trussell says, "Tend to the part of the garden you can touch."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is huge, especially now in this time, right? It's like what you're saying is literally like you wanted to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this teacher, you said Mr. Cool?
Mr. Cool.
What a great
Kevin Cool.
name.
Perfect name.
Mr.
Perfect
Cool,
name.
I love that. So, it's like, and that's what you're doing. You're tending to the garden. Like,
mm-hmm.
you're like there. You're a male figure for these, for all of your students. I mean, like, and so I just think that's so important and so incredible for anybody that's listening, and for literally everyone, is like, what can you do? And maybe that's even something that we can talk about. Is like, what can we do? Like, how can we make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that there's been petitions going online or protesting. I know we were talking about protesting. Like, what are some things that you think is going to bring more of a movement to America?
We need to get some like laws or bills into place dealing with punishments for police officers not doing their jobs effectively, correctly. New York just passed like a bill, the Amy something bill, where if you falsely accuse, like if you make a false report of a rape or a racial, incident, but it was false, you'll get fined or go to jail for it, something like that. So we need more of those put into like play, like everywhere. Police.
Well, it made me think of. I listened to a podcast yesterday with Ronnie Coleman, who is a professional bodybuilder, one of the best ever. He was on a podcast with Joe Rogan, and he had mentioned that he was a cop in Texas, and he was saying that it was like I don't know if it was a 3-strike rule, but it was like a if you do something bad, you're out.
Yeah.
There's no coming back.
Yep.
I think with this last officer, it was like he had 17.
A whole sheet. Yeah.
Was it like 17?
Yeah, 15, 17. Had a whole list of things.
Of people filing complaints against him and all these different things that he did wrong. It's like, how in the world can he continue? I mean, it's like, that's what I'm saying. So like maybe even stuff like that with like 3 strikes, you're out. Like maybe different rules of like, how can we change that? Because 17
that's
is too
lot,
far.
Man. Yep. And shoot, man. Even with Darren Wilson, he had like a nice little rap sheet too. You know what I'm saying? Like he was known for having a temper. You know what I'm saying? And kind of going against the grain on how he handled situations. So yeah, man. Like they gotta start holding these cops accountable for what they do. And people just like we know Mike Brown got, killed. Like we seen the aftermath of like the body and everything like that. We heard stories of Sandra Bland. We seen the video of Eric Gardner and things like that. And so that's real traumatizing. But when we seen George Floyd, like not even putting up a fight, he followed the rules and everything, and you sitting on his neck. And you're smiling like you got like an evil, smirk, and then another cop is, kind of like standing in front of you like, yeah, you try to stop this, I'm gonna handle you. Then to find out it's 2 other cops like sitting on his legs, that people just had enough.
Yeah, no, I mean, and like, it's sickening. It's really sickening. I mean, along with bringing on like different cops on the show. That's what I want to talk about too. Is what do you, as a cop, what do you recommend to the civilians when you see injustices like this? When you see somebody getting killed, an innocent, unarmed man getting killed, right? Yep. What are you supposed to do? Because I don't know. I can't remember the name of who filmed. I think she's a 17-year-old girl who filmed George getting killed, and apparently, like, people are yelling at her, and they're like mad at her for not stepping in and doing something. But my question that I want to ask is like, what are we supposed to do? Because once again, they have guns, they have tasers, they have like batons, and they have things. It's like, if it's just one, if you see somebody do this injustice, it's not enough if one person runs forward, right? Because then they're gonna get tackled, So it's like, what can you even do?
They can't get mad at the little girl. If it was grown man there.
Well, I think there were. There were like.
It was a couple of them. I mean, and this is where I understand what people are afraid to jump in and risk their lives,
right? Because
these cops, like, that's just giving them a reason to shoot you. But somebody was saying that it's a law where you have the right to defend yourself or protect somebody from a cop that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think
Denzel Washington just did that in like L.A. I think there was a homeless man getting stopped by a cop, and Denzel Washington was like, "Hold up, I'm gonna get out of here." And
so that's another thing that we need to start teaching kids in school, like, their rights. Like, man, with the education system, like, it's a lot of things that we need to do better. Like, back when I was growing up, we had like business management, homemade. We still got homemaking things like wood shop stuff like that. We need to teach kids like things that's going to help them once they graduate from high school. You know what I'm saying, and become a young adult, managing money.
Completely, yeah. I mean, I still need help with that.
Same, man.
For real.
Cause science and all this other stuff, unless you're going into that field, you know, it's not gonna help you. I don't remember, you know what I'm saying, 98% of the stuff that I learned from science and all these other, you know, random classes that we had to like take, you know. So like we need to get back and start teaching kids like stuff that's gonna benefit them like once they graduate. A lot of kids don't even want to go to college, you know. Right. So like it's just I wouldn't say a waste of time, but we just can do better with how we teach these, you know, kids.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing too is, I always want to make this point, or I've heard this before, and it's so true, is first of all, being a policeman, that must be one of the hardest jobs on the planet.
Most definitely.
I can't imagine. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be a cop. I would never, I don't want, you know, I never have wanted that. Mm-hmm. But I can't imagine, especially knowing that there are good cops, mm-hmm. knowing that, you know, if my house gets broken into, it's like, who am I going to call? You know, I'm still going to call the cops, and, you know, so it's like, it's a job where no one, I just feel like it's just such a hard job, because you're just
putting your life on
the line. Yeah. And then you're also, if you know, you're trying to protect, if you're a good cop, which I know that there are out there many, it's like, if they're putting their life on the line, and, you know, and there is, you know, that's the other thing too, is there is crime, there is bad things in the world, you know, right? So it's like, how can we just get further away from the crime and the bad apples and like all of that?
Yeah, they gotta start holding cops more accountable for what they do, and cops gotta stop getting off, you know what I'm saying, with the murders and crimes that they commit. Breonna Taylor, the girl that just got killed, they busted in her house thinking that it was the perpetrator that they were looking for, when that perpetrator was already arrested, shot her up. You know what I'm saying? And her boyfriend had, you know what I'm saying, a firearm, and he shot back at the cops, and they arrested him. You know, he's free now, but you know
but she's not. I mean,
yeah, she's dead for like for no reason, none at all. And I don't need those cops still aren't prosecuted or anything. Like, they're free.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I wish that. I wish that we had the answers. I wish that we had the answer today, mm-hmm. to where we can get rid of all this, mm-hmm. now, you know. But I mean, so like, what are some other things? I mean, obviously,
definitely like even the officers that we have at our school, like Lou and, you know what I'm saying, the other ones, they should really, like, when we come back, they should go to classes and have those heart-to-heart discussions with the like we need to have like maybe an assembly or something where we have those heart-to-heart discussions with the kids. Like, they answer questions that the kids have about police brutality and things of that nature. Just so
talking about it, I think that's one thing that's so important.
We need those, you know what I'm saying, those talks with like the kids, because growing up as a black man, like, you're told that the cops is the enemy, and then, you know, as you grow up and experience things, you know, the people that say it aren't too far off, because you've dealt with experiences that made you be like, man, fuck them, fuck the cops, you know. And but you do have cops that really try to do their job and make a difference. But it's so, as a black man, there's so many instances where, you know, cops were just being dickheads, where like, I don't even trip off like the good cops, you know, just, you know, fuck all cops.
Right.
But, you know, cops that I like, Lou and other ones, you know, like, I got love and respect for like them. I know that they're good cops, and, you know, they care for the kids, and, you know, they care for the community. But the bad apples spoil it for the whole batch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like we definitely need those talks with the kids when we come back, and yeah, man, and just cops in general just got to do a better job at policing the neighborhoods and things like that.
Yeah, and I think that like having these kinds of conversations is incredible,
Mm-hmm.
and it's super eye-opening for me. I mean, like I said, like I have never had guns drawn on me
Mm-hmm.
ever by the police.
Yep.
You know, so like hearing that, and that's just one person.
Yeah.
I mean, and actually, it was twice
Mm-hmm.
where you've had guns pulled out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying, and you're just one person. So
Just
like,
one.
who else?
Oh man,
in
plenty.
America. That's what I'm
Plenty.
saying. Like over 13%, right, of Black Americans, right?
Probably,
How
yeah.
many of them have experienced that?
Probably like I don't want to throw like stats out there because I don't know them by heart, but man, probably like 1 in every 4 or 5 black males maybe.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like having those, and or like another thing too is like repercussions for the bad apples who even do that, who pull up
Yeah.
on you as a 13-year-old.
It's crazy.
Like all of them should have been.
Remember Tamir Rice,
Yeah.
the little kid that had the little fake toy gun, and I seen that video. They pulled up at the park, shot him, went on about their business.
Right.
A little 8, 9-year-old, like
Right.
come on, man.
Instead of So there needs to be more repercussions for
A lot more.
And I think the conversation needs to continue, and we need to continue to have conversations like this where eyes can be opened, and we're like, because answers need to, there needs to be an answer to all of this.
And I think this the generation after us and beyond, they're not going to stand for it, because now like the world is a lot more accepting of diversity, interracial relationships. A lot of kids nowadays are not just one race. They're black, white, black and Asian, white and Asian. Like it's a big melting pot now. So, a white, mother or grandmother has like a biracial grandson or daughter. So, they're starting to wisen up and have more, care for, Black America, because one of their siblings or relatives is
Absolutely.
a part of that culture. And they're not standing for it. Like Minneapolis or Minnesota, wherever that happened with George Floyd, they showed out. Yeah. I think that's going to continue to happen if this continues to happen, because like we're just tired of it. And I think with them actually seeing him being killed right in front of their eyes, they realize like, dang man, like this is crazy. And then like a week prior, Ahmaud Arbery, they showed him, running for his life, then fighting for his life, and getting shot for no reason. Like they just followed him for no reason. Then Breonna Taylor, you heard the story about them coming in and shooting her for no reason. So people with a conscience and a heart, they're like, dang, this isn't right. This isn't cool.
No, I mean, I have not heard one person say that George Floyd, I mean, like that was anything, a part of that was right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like,
we just getting tired of being
right
killed
there.
for no reason. Like they killing us like we, what I'm saying, a little caterpillar on the sidewalk. It's like a modern day lynching. Know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, man. So like we just like cops just gotta be held more accountable, because in a minute, people gonna start fighting back. Like they gonna start, fighting back and hurting these cops.
Yeah.
People not gonna keep taking that.
One thing that might need to happen is just, instead of, so often it's like the music gets taken away first in like schools and stuff, but it's like really the arts
that stuff needs to be escalated because
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you really like look at like race relations
Mm-hmm.
and like music,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I mean, all of my favorite musicians are black. Like all my, you know, like I said, Albert King, the Three Kings. Those are like the three guys, you know, or Jimi Hendrix. Like there's just so many. Wes Montgomery, he's my favorite guitar player ever, the king of jazz. You know, and so like I just have so many heroes who are black. And so I'm just like, you know, things like music, things like art, you know, like you'll have a white drummer and a black bass player, like, you know, or whatever, an Asian piano player, like everybody, you know, it's less about what color your skin is, and it's more about like playing music together, doing art together.
And you know, like people, like when we try to express the importance of Black Lives Matter, we know all lives are important, but until you start treating black lives important, then all lives aren't important because you're excluding black lives. So yeah, we know all lives, you know, matter, but as you can see, black lives keep getting the short end of the stick. So until, you know, black lives are being treated like every other, you know, racist lives, all lives don't matter. You know, we're not trying to, you know, get, you know, more attention than everybody or things of that nature. It's just evident from media and, you know, things that's been happening for hundreds of years that, you know, we get treated differently, you know. So we just need, like, start treating us, you know what I'm saying, the way you treat everybody else, and, you know, then you don't got to worry about Black Lives Matter chants and everything.
Yeah, I love that idea that you brought up, and you said having police officers come in and talk to schools.
Yep.
Like talking to, I mean, that should be really as early as, you know,
they need
grade school,
back,
middle
like,
school.
Back when they did the DARE things, like, need to start doing that. Not necessarily DARE, but come in and talk to these kids about, you know, what goes on in these neighborhoods and everything. You know, like they need to have those conversations with the kids, more so the black kids, because they're the ones being targeted by police officers. And, you know, like, one thing that my mom did when cops would mess with me, like, she would tell me to get their badge number, get their name. It was one crazy instances where I was in Maryland Heights. I drove past a cop. I had a water bottle. It was like black. I was drinking my water bottle as I was driving. Cop seen me, like, I'm going this way, he going the opposite way. I'm drinking my water bottle. I, like, look at him, he look at me. He was already down the street. He turned around and pulled me over and said that, you know, people put liquor in those bottles, and he wanted to see if I had alcohol in that, you know what I'm saying, water bottle. And so I had my mom on the phone when he pulled me over. I'm like, what's this dude pulling me over for? So once he heard that my mom was on the phone and why he pulled me over, he said, "Oh, you have a nice day, sir." So my mom was, you know, I got his badge number, got his name. We went to the police station and, you know what I'm saying, reported him. Of course, the chief was, you know, trying to back him up. Well, you know, he had a real rough week last week. You know, somebody, one of the cases that it was a big case where, like, a kid died in a house fire or something. You know, he's real stressed about that. But you're stressed to the point where you got to pick on me. You got to pull me over because you assume that I had alcohol in my water bottle. I wasn't even swerving. I was just drinking some water.
Yeah, man, that kind of stuff is just not acceptable.
It's wild, man.
At all.
Yeah, like, for no reason. And I know I got, like, a fro and things of that nature, but I'm not. No, you can't say that. You can't say just because you got a fro, that don't mean nothing. Like, you know, like, they may think that I'm like a thug or something, but that even, like, they shouldn't even
Right.
You know, I'm minding my business, man.
Just drinking my water
Just
bottle,
drinking
dude.
water, man. Drinking high quality H2O, man. Chilling. You know what I mean? So it you know, yeah, man. I think, man, like hatred for people, man. That's a mental illness, man. Especially somebody who like didn't do anything to you. Like you don't like me because of the color of my skin. Like that's a mental illness, man.
I agree. No, I agree. That is just, I honestly don't understand that way of thinking at all. You know, somebody from like myself, one of my best friends growing up was black, AJ.
Shout out to AJ.
Shout out to AJ. I haven't talked to AJ in a while. What's up, AJ? We went to like middle school together. You know, and like I went to like a small like private school, Our Redeemer.
Okay.
And there was only like 10 or like 12 kids in my class, you know, and so like, but we were still just like Rittner is like, you know, there's not like a majority. It was kind of like the same thing, almost, at least in my class, and same way with Pattonville. Like, you know, like I don't understand. I just can't see where someone can look at somebody and literally base like everything off the color of their skin. It just I there's no, like you said, it's like a mental illness, because that just does not make sense at all.
Yeah, man. Me. It's I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know. And we just gotta pray for him, man.
Yes.
Pray for him.
Yes.
Cause like now, like the older I get, and when people act that way, like when I worked at Apple, I would deal with like, you know, racist customers. I just laugh like, really, man? Like you 50, 60 years old, you acting like that?
I'm
like,
so sorry for you.
Man,
really,
like,
I just feel bad for those people.
I'm like to the point now where like I don't even get mad. I just like shake my head like, man, you real immature. Like that's very childish of you.
Yeah.
It's going about my business.
Well, I just hope and pray. That's, like you said, that's what we can do, is just pray for those people. Pray for your enemies.
Pray for them.
You know, pray for those people. And I just hope that we can see some kind of change, honestly, in the years to come. And you know, people like yourself. You made a post the other day. We need more black male educators.
Yeah,
we made
do,
that on
man.
Instagram.
Yeah, we do, man. We definitely need more black teachers, because what I noticed, like we have I don't know, it's just a certain presence that we have, you know what I'm saying, that kids gravitate towards. Like most, you know, young black or just black educators that I know, like they're, you know, hip and relatable, and because it's so few of us, you know, kids are kind of like, you know, intrigued or interested. Okay, you know, let's see what he's about. And just that representation for black males, you know, it's like, you know, needed, because when I worked in the city, you know, a lot of kids didn't have, like, their role models were people on the block or, you know, gang members or things of that nature. Like they never had like not all, but, you know, most didn't have like a positive black male figure, you know what I'm saying, unless they looked up to somebody who was a rapper or a basketball player. They never like knew nobody who was in a legal profession, you know, trying to make a, you know, change. And, you know, all they had was white teachers, or, you know, they may have black female teachers, but no black males that can relate to them, or, you know, they can look at and identify, you know, with. So that's why it's important to have like a, you know what I'm saying, a black male. I didn't have my first black male teacher till I was in college.
Really?
Yep. I didn't have a black male, Mr. Carr. I didn't have him till I was in my first or second year in college. Everybody else was either predominantly white, you know what I'm saying? But the white male teachers that I had was cool though, you know what I'm saying? Like they were very cool. And you know, some of them are the reason why I'm, you know, in this field to a day, you know. Right.
So what you're saying is be the change.
Yep.
That's really what we can say to the
Pretty
next
much.
generation.
Be the change.
Be the change. Mm-hmm. If you know, if you're like, which everybody is right now, is just crying out and just like, what is going on? And, you know, trying to figure out what to do. It's like, if you want to change something, become an educator.
Facts.
Become a mentor. Become a police officer, and be a better police officer.
Yep.
Say, I'm going to be the best police officer.
Yep.
And I'm going to make sure that my communities are protected.
Yep.
And that no innocent life is going to be killed. Like,
Facts.
those are the types of things that I hope and pray that the next generation can do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. First of all, I just want to
man. You're welcome.
thank you so much for coming on. Where can we find you on social media?
Instagram, Bovember Dean. It's November, but with a B. Bovember.com. That has all my, social media links. YouTube /Bodine TV. Just type in Bodine on all, digital streaming platforms, and my projects will pop up. Check out Fro America.
Yes.
That's probably the most relevant music that reflects the times of right now. Check out Fro America and the Blue Fro Project also. And more new music's coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. And man.
Thanks so much, Bo.
Thank you, sir.
Take care, guys.
Peace.